Did you see that? That star blinked ... just for a second? You're not imagining it. It's not a trick of your eyes. What you witnessed is one of the most misunderstood truths of the night sky. Every night, millions of people look up and see stars flicker, some faster, some slower, some in red, some in blue. They sparkle like diamonds. They dance like flames. But hardly anyone stops to ask why. What if I told you the twinkling of a star isn't the stars doing at all? That it has nothing to do with what's happening out there in space, but everything to do with what's happening right here, above your head. You see, when starlight leaves a star, it travels through the cold, empty silence of space, unbothered and uninterrupted, sometimes for millions of years. That light is pure. It's straight. It's unchanged, but then it meets Earth. More specifically, it meets the atmosphere, an invisible ocean of air that clings to our planet like a skin. This ocean is in constant motion. It shifts, it swirls, it changes temperature, density, and pressure. It's unpredictable. And when that ancient, steady light hits it, something strange happens. The light bends, it wobbles, it scatters. This bending is called refraction, and it happens millions of times per second as the starlight fights its way through pockets of warm and cold air. Updrafts and downdrafts, turbulence and stillness. The result? That once stable beam of light is twisted into a flickering illusion. That's what you see. That twinkle, that flutter, that mysterious shimmer. It's not the star that's moving. It's not the star that's changing color. It's not the star that's pulsing. It's your air, your sky, your world. And here's something even more unsettling. The star you're seeing, it might not even exist anymore, because that light has taken so long to reach you. You may be looking at the ghost of a star, a cosmic memory that continues to shine long after the source has vanished. So when you stare up at a twinkling star, you're witnessing two illusions at once. 1. The star's position, shifted and warped by Earth's breathing atmosphere. 2. The very existence of the star, possibly long gone. But the deception doesn't end there. Look closely at the sky, and you'll notice something else. Not everything twinkles. Planets Venus, Jupiter, Mars, they shine steadily. They don't flicker. They don't dance. Why? Because planets are close. They appear as small disks, not points. Their light comes from a broader area. So when the atmosphere tries to bend and twist that light, the distortions cancel each other out. What reaches your eyes is smooth, stable, reliable. Stars, on the other hand, are so far away that they appear as single pinpoints. One tiny shift in the air, and their light jumps. Another shift, and it flickers. Another, and it vanishes. That's the difference. A star twinkles because it's a prisoner of distance, and a victim of our sky. But that twinkle's powerful. It's captured the hearts of poets and lovers and dreamers for generations. It's started stories, sparked wishes, guided ships, inspired songs. It's made children curious, made scientists wonder, made philosophers fall silent. And all the while, it's just light, distorted by air. Think about that. Something as simple as a flicker can move the human soul. The star itself does nothing. It burns, far away, unseen and unchanged. But the way its light struggles through our world, that's what we fall in love with. The imperfection, the unpredictability, the illusion, maybe. In some way, that's what we all are, light distorted by the lives we move through. Constant, at the core, but seen differently by every eye, bent by every moment, flickering in every breath of wind. Maybe the stars are telling us more than we realize. Why doesn't the sky tell the truth? That's a question you never thought to ask. But now you're starting to wonder. If the stars you see might not even exist, and if the twinkle you admire is just distorted light, what else is the night sky hiding from you? Let's go deeper. That star's journey began in a violent, roaring furnace, a nuclear heart, millions of kilometers wide, burning at temperatures we can't even imagine. It has burned for billions of years. In that star's core, atoms collided, fused, exploded. Energy surged outward, battling gravity to escape, and finally, after 100,000 years just to push through the star's own layers, and then another million years, racing across the black silence of space, it reached you. It arrived in the blink of an eye, invisible, ancient, pure. But your atmosphere doesn't welcome this light gently. No, it bends it, splits it, dances with it like a trickster. This is not a gentle dance, either. It's chaos. It's war. Imagine a mountain of heat rising from a desert floor. Now imagine that same column of air colliding with a cold breeze blowing in from a frozen lake. These layers, don't blend softly. They fight, they swirl, they ripple and tear and collide. And now imagine the light of a distant star, so delicate, so fine, trying to pass through that invisible battlefield. It doesn't stand a chance. Each shift in temperature, each drop in pressure, each swirl of air bends that light a tiny bit, and because it's happening thousands of times per second, what your eye sees is never the same twice. The star is jumping, winking, vanishing, and here's something even more disturbing. Your brain tries to make sense of it. It fills in the gaps. It stabilizes what's unstable. You never really see the star as it is. You see the version your brain allows you to see. A processed, cleaned up, edited version. Your mind is a co-conspirator in the illusion, and it gets stranger. On some nights, you'll see stars flicker in different colors: red, then blue, then white, like a tiny, flashing prism in the sky. That's not the star changing color. That's the atmosphere playing with different wavelengths of light, bending each one in its own direction, like a prism that's alive and restless. You're not watching the star, you're watching your own sky lie to you in real time. And yet, it's beautiful, because beauty doesn't require truth. It only needs feeling. That flicker, that shimmer, draws you in. It makes you feel small and infinite at the same time. It makes you wonder who else is looking at it. Makes you think of lovers standing under the same sky. Think of soldiers in trenches, prisoners in silence, children on rooftops, all gazing at the same trembling light. We are all connected by something that isn't even real. Think of that, connected by the illusion of a light that may be dead. Bent by air that doesn't care, filtered through eyes that can't be trusted. Yet we trust it anyway. We write songs about it. We make wishes on it. We name it. We follow it. Maybe that's what makes it sacred. Not that it's perfect, but that it pretends to be. Because that's what we do too, isn't it? We shimmer, we flicker, we hide, we show. We're seen only in fragments, and yet we hope someone sees the whole. Just like a star, we are the same. There's a strange comfort in knowing that the light above you is not what it seems. You stand beneath the stars and feel a sense of peace, as though the universe is steady, ordered, predictable. But now you know every flicker in the sky is a sign of chaos. Every shimmer is turbulence. Every twinkle is the cry of ancient light, struggling to survive its final breath through the spinning madness of Earth's sky. Still, you look up. Still, you're drawn to it. Let's talk about how fragile that light really is. A single photon, just one particle of light, can be knocked off course by a molecule of nitrogen, a wisp of water vapor, a grain of dust, and when multiplied across billions and trillions of photons, moving through layers of swirling, invisible air, what arrives in your eye is not a beam of clarity, it's a storm. Your eyes take in the storm, and your brain smooths it into beauty. You've never actually seen a star. Not truly. You've seen your version of it. The Earth's version of it. A version passed through filters of weather, air, and thought. And even if you were to rise above the atmosphere and the vacuum of space, the stars wouldn't twinkle anymore. They'd burn steady, cold, silent, perfect. It's only down here, within the shifting breath of our planet, that they come alive and pretend to dance. Twinkling, then, is not a property of the star. It is a condition of being human. It is the condition of looking at the infinite from inside a storm. And in that storm, some people see patterns. Astronomers learn to read those twinkles not just as noise but as data. The sharpness or distortion of a star's flicker can tell us about the upper atmosphere, about wind speeds at 80,000 feet, about thermal layers and jet streams and pressure zones. A flicker can guide a telescope or mislead a mission. Pilots rely on steady celestial bodies to navigate above the clouds. But what if the sky is turbulent? What if the stars themselves can't be trusted? For the longest time, humanity feared that twinkling meant something sending signs, stars, speaking in pulses. Even now, in the back of your mind, you still half believe it. That the flicker means something. That it knows something. That it's watching back. It doesn't. But the meaning is still there. Because you give it meaning, and maybe that's the point. Everything we love about the stars, their mystery, their romance, their quietness, is built on something broken, on distortion, on imperfection. They only twinkle because of the violence in our air, the chaos in our skies. And that's where it gets personal. Because we don't just look at stars, we become them. We live our lives sending out light actions, words, memories that travel through time. By the time someone else receives them, that light has changed, been bent by mood, distorted by emotion, filtered through misunderstanding. You say something with love, Someone hears it with pain. You give a gift, it's seen as guilt. You show care. It's read as control. We all twinkle in the eyes of others, never steady, never whole. Just flickers of who we really are, and still, someone looks at us and sees beauty. Not because we are perfect but because, in our flicker, they see themselves. That's what stars are. That's what you are. Asterisk somewhere. In the darkest corner of the earth, a child lies awake, eyes wide open, staring through a window at a single blinking light above. That light, barely visible, pulses with an irregular rhythm. It seems to speak. It seems to know. It flickers once, then twice, then twice, then pauses as if it breathes. To that child, it's not science. It's magic. To that child, it isn't bent photons or layers of turbulence. It's a secret. A whisper. A message from the universe. Just for them. But now you know the truth. That light is ancient. It began its journey before you were born, before your parents were born, before your entire bloodline was even imagined. It raced through space faster than anything else can move. Untouched by time or matter if it reached Earth's atmosphere. And then, everything changed. Think of what it passed through. Lightning storms, jet streams, waves of radiation, clouds of dust, chemical trails, shifting ozone. Layers of hot and cold air colliding like invisible tsunamis. Mountains of wind that smash into each other without a sound. Each one took a piece of that light. Bent it, delayed it, altered it, and, when that final, fragile photon reached the child's eye, it was already someone else. Not the same light that left the star, but a survivor. It's not just the journey of light. It's the story of us. We are shaped by what we pass through. Born pure, we grow in layers of air, of noise, of trauma, of joy. Bent by parents, by teachers, by strangers, by lovers. Each one changes us a little. Each one adds turbulence to our path. And yet, like the star, we still shine. Distorted, flickering, but visible. You see, when we say a star twinkles, we're not just describing a phenomenon. We're describing the struggle of something ancient trying to be seen, something distant trying to reach us. And in that struggle, we see ourselves. Even science, so often cold and exact, can't strip away the poetry of it. We try to explain it. Thermal gradients, light refraction, differential scattering. We build equations. We launch satellites. We write books, but none of that stops a poet from writing about a star that winks. Or a lover from wishing on a shooting light. Or a child from imagining that a star is blinking just for them. Because deep down, we don't need the stars to be real. We need them to feel real. We need something distant and untouched to reflect what we can't say. We need something silent to echo our questions. Something untouchable to give shape to our dreams. So maybe the twinkle is not a flaw in the system. Maybe it's a feature. Maybe the universe knew we'd need something to guide us, not through navigation or measurement, but through feeling. Maybe the flicker is there so we never forget that even the most brilliant lights are not steady. That they struggle, that they survive. And that their beauty comes not from perfection, but from persistence. Because it's not the star's glow that moves us. It's the fact that it kept shining through distance, distortion, chaos, and time just to be seen by you. Asterisk, and if you were to turn a whiff, no one looked up that night. If no, I caught that trembling ray of light, would the star's efforts still matter? Yes, because the star doesn't shine to be seen. It shines because it must, because that is its nature, and so it burns endlessly, in silence. There's a lesson in that. We spend our lives hoping to be noticed, to be understood, to be reflected clearly in someone else's gaze. But the truth is, our light matters whether or not it's seen. Our value is not measured by how many eyes we reach, but by the fact that we kept going. Through distortion, through turbulence, through time. What makes a star beautiful is not its perfection, but its persistence. The universe is not a quiet place. It is chaos. Radiation, and gravity, and pressure, and time, colliding constantly. And yet, within that chaos, stars form. Light is born. And that light, delicate, defenseless, travels through everything, never stopping, never asking why, never knowing who might be waiting for it. And when that light reaches you, in the quiet of night, it doesn't ask for anything in return. It simply arrives. That's the gift. That's what we've forgotten. That we are not here to shine for applause, not for validation, but because we carry something inside us that refuses to dim. The star doesn't know it's inspiring you. It doesn't know it's guiding sailors across oceans. It doesn't know it's comforting someone on a rooftop after heartbreak. It doesn't know it's helping a writer finish a sentence, or a father name his child, or a lost soul find peace. It just shines. Because that's what stars do, and maybe just maybe that's what you're meant to do. 2. Not because it's easy. Not because someone will notice, but because your light is real. Because it's been building inside you for longer than you know. Because it matters, even if no one ever tells you it does. We don't see the light that never tried. We don't wish on the stars that never dared to burn. So flicker if you must. Be unsteady. Let the air twist your glow and time stretch your meaning. But don't go out, even when no one sees you. Even when your light feels small, because someone, somewhere, will look up and they'll find you, and in that one moment of trembling, borrowed light, they'll remember how to shine, too. There's a silence in the night sky that says more than words ever could. Not empty silence, but a vast, echoing stillness that holds everything. Creation, collapse, light, shadow. You feel it when you look up, not just with your eyes but with something deeper, something older. A knowing. It tells you that you are small, but not insignificant, fragile but not without purpose. Because in the middle of this boundless, indifferent universe, you are a witness. You are the moment when ancient light meets a living soul, the end of a journey that began before time wore a name, and that makes you part of something immense. You were never just an observer, you were always a participant. When you look at the stars, they are not passive, they respond. Not by changing, not by speaking, but by completing the circuit. The light travels, the air bends, your eye receives, your brain interprets. The moment is real because of you. Without a witness, the light is aimless. Without a soul, the twinkle means nothing. That's why your presence matters more than you think. The universe doesn't need you to understand everything. It just needs you to feel something. Wonder, curiosity, stillness, reverence, and so the stars go on shining. Not waiting for you but offering, always offering. Even in the loneliest corners of the earth, they are there. For the prisoner staring through bars. For the wanderer walking alone. For the dreamer lying awake. For the broken heart who no longer believes. The stars still show up. So should you. Because your life, too, leaves light. Every word, every choice, every kindness or cruelty. Everything you've ever done sends something outward. Not photons but moments, ripples, echoes. And you don't get to control how they're seen. Just like the stars, your light passes through layers you'll never touch. People's fears, their wounds, their beliefs, their assumptions. By the time your light reaches them, it may be bent, blurred, misunderstood. But that doesn't make it meaningless, it makes it human. We are not perfect beams. We are flickers, and the miracle is that we are seen at all. Somewhere tonight, someone will look up and notice a single star above all others. Not because it's the brightest. Not because it's the largest. But because, in that moment, it speaks to something inside them. Maybe that's you. Maybe you're the one flickering through someone else's darkness, right? Now they might not say it. They might never tell you. But your light reached them, and that changes everything. And what if the person you reached never tells you? What if the moment passes in silence, without acknowledgement, without recognition, without a single word exchanged? Does that make your light any less real? No. Because not all impact comes with applause. Not all meaning is loud. Some of the most powerful things in the universe are invisible, like gravity, or time, or the space between stars. And yet, they shape everything. You never see the light leave the star. You never feel it travel. You don't watch it bend through the sky, but you see its arrival. And that's enough. You are not here to be perfect. You are here to be real. To flicker in your own way. To shine despite distortion. To continue your quiet transmission across whatever storms you must pass through. Like the star. You don't get to choose your atmosphere. You don't get to skip the layers of misunderstanding, chaos, or confusion that twist your truth. But you get to shine anyway. That is your power, and maybe the universe set it up this way on purpose. Maybe it wanted us to learn that beauty can come from struggle, that clarity is rare, but effort matters. That even broken light can be breathtaking. That even misinterpreted signals still connect us. Maybe the twinkle was meant to remind us that nothing seen is ever exactly what it seems. That people, like stars, are deeper than their surface shimmer, so the next time you see someone flicker when their voice trembles, when their story doesn't come out right, when they hesitate before speaking, or pull away instead of leaning in, remember the atmosphere they've passed through, the turbulence you'll never know. And look anyway, see them anyway, because you might be the first clear sky their light has ever touched. That's what we do for each other. We witness, we receive, we make meaning out of flickers, and in doing so, we become part of the ancient pattern, the same one that connects you to poets and prophets and children lying on rooftops, whispering wishes to stars they think are listening. And maybe they are. Not because the stars can hear, but because we can. Because something deep inside us listens when we see light try. Because something sacred stirs when we realize the flicker we've watched all our lives was never a weakness, it was a sign of life. A sign of something burning far away, refusing to die, refusing to stop, refusing to go unseen. And now you understand the stars don't teach through brilliance alone, they teach through endurance, through consistency in the face of distortion, through patience across unimaginable time, through their willingness to shine, even when no one is watching, even when the atmosphere turns their message into a flicker, a shimmer, a blur. Still, they shine. And so must you, because the world you live in is no less chaotic than the layers of sky above. It bends you, it twists your truth, it filters your light through noise, through judgment, fear, expectation, and sometimes, you'll feel like your message isn't getting through. You'll speak with love and be misunderstood. You'll reach out and be met with silence. You'll try your best and still be seen in fragments. But like the stars, your light wasn't meant to land perfectly. It was meant to travel, to move, to touch, to survive the turbulence of being alive. You may not always be able to control how you're perceived, but you can choose to keep glowing. You can choose not to dim yourself for skies that refuse to be still. Because one day when the air is clear, when the storm has passed, someone will see you, exactly as you are, unbent.undistorted. Unmistakably radiant. And maybe they won't know the storms you passed through to get there. Maybe they'll never understand the heat that created your fire, the pressure that formed your core, the silence you endured across years of empty distance. But they'll feel it, the depth behind your glow, the weight behind your warmth, the story inside your flicker. And in that moment, they won't just be looking at you, they'll be remembering something forgotten, something ancient, something true, that even in darkness, there is guidance, that even through distortion, there is meaning, that even a single, trembling point of light lost among billions can change the direction of a life, not because it demanded attention, but because it stayed, because it didn't stop shining, because it knew. The flicker was never a flaw, it was the signal. So much of life is waiting to be seen, not in the shallow glance, not in the hurried look, but in that rare, quiet moment when someone truly notices. When they stop, when they listen not with their ears, but with their presence, their stillness, and that's when the flicker matters most. Because a steady light might be easier to understand, but the flicker speaks more honestly. It shows the journey. It reveals the wind. It exposes every invisible force the light has fought through just to get here. The flicker says, I am trying. And sometimes, that's all someone needs to feel less alone. You see, not everyone is searching for brilliance. Some are just searching for proof that survival is possible. That beauty can live even inside distortion. That something battered by time and space and pressure can still arrive, still shine. When you flicker, you're not failing, you're proving. That light can bend without breaking. That presence can shake without disappearing. That softness can endure. That's what the stars teach us, night after night, without a single word. You don't have to shout to change someone's world. You don't have to be the brightest light in the sky. You just have to be there when they look up. Because the truth is, no one remembers the sky as a perfect canvas. They remember the one star that caught their eye. The one that shimmered in just the right way, at just the right moment. When everything else felt dark. You don't have to light up the whole world, you just have to reach one heart. That's enough. Because hearts, like stars, pass on what touches them. A flicker becomes warmth, warmth becomes hope, hope becomes motion, and motion becomes life. It spreads, quietly, softly, without anyone noticing until suddenly. The world is a little brighter, not because the stars grew stronger, but because someone saw the signal and carried it forward. That's how the universe moves, not in explosions, but in echoes, not in noise, but in the quiet transfer of light from one soul to another. It's easy to believe that only the grand gestures matter, that only brilliance has value, that if you're not shining like the sun, you're invisible. But that's not how light works. That's not how meaning spreads. Look at the stars. Again, they don't compete, they don't shout, they don't demand to be chosen. They simply exist, steady in their burning, soft in their delivery, fierce in their silence. And still they change everything. Not because they force their way into your attention, but because they wait. Because they trust that someone, somewhere, someday, will look up and need exactly what they offer. A flicker, a signal, a reminder that they are not alone, and neither are you. Because whether you know it or not, someone is watching your light right now. Someone is learning from your persistence. Someone is tracing your pattern through their own storm. They may not say your name. They may never tell you. But your flicker is their map. You are not invisible. You are not forgotten. You are not too late. You are starlight in motion, still on your way, still being seen, even after everything that tried to block you. And long after you've passed, your light will still be arriving in someone's sky, at just the right moment, when they need it most. Not because you tried to be seen, but because you refused to stop shining. Asterisk, and isn't that the most extraordinary truth of all? That your light can outlive you. That even after your voice fades, your words echo. Even after your hands rest, your touch lingers. Even after you are gone, what you gave continues quietly, invisibly, like starlight traveling across centuries. Most people think legacy is built through monuments or fame or power. But the stars know better. Legacy is light, not measured in how far it spreads, but in how deeply it's felt. Not in how loud it is, but in how long it lasts. And light real asks for credit. It never begs to be seen. It simply moves forward. That's what you're doing too, even when you feel stuck. Even when no one seems to notice. Even when your shine feels dim. You're still moving, still glowing, still giving off the faint, golden trace of everything you are: your struggle, your hope, your love, your presence, and that trace is enough. You may never know the lives you've touched. You may never see the ripple your existence created, but it's there, spreading outward, like starlight beyond your sight, beyond your lifetime, still reaching. So the next time you feel invisible, look up. Not just to remember what you are made of, but to remember what you're doing. You are not just surviving this life. You are radiating through it, even in your silence, even in your doubt, even in your smallest, most flickering moments. You are light. And light always finds a way. Asterisk. Some lights don't announce their arrival. They slip into the world gently, like a breath, like a whisper. But once they're here, they change everything. You've seen it before. A single candle in a dark room. It doesn't roar. It doesn't shout, yet it softens the edges. It reveals what was hidden. It brings comfort to things that once felt cold. You are that candle, not because you feel powerful, but because you remain lit even when the wind tries to put you out. You don't need to blind anyone with brilliance. You don't need to command the sky, like the sun. You only need to do what stars do. Endure. They are not untouched by time. They burn, they collapse, they explode and are born again. They don't last forever, but they last long enough to matter. Long enough to guide someone home. Long enough to become memory. Long enough to leave their mark across the dark. And isn't that enough? Not to be everything, but to be something. To be the voice someone hears in their silence. The spark someone remembers in their night. The presence someone feels softly, faintly when they think no one is there. You don't always know when your light is reaching someone, but it is. In ways you'll never fully understand. Across moments you'll never witness, because some signals are bigger than our lifetimes. Some truths don't land until years later. Some hearts don't open until they've seen your light again and again, until one night, without warning, they finally realize you were always shining for them. And in that realization, they begin to shine too. Not because you pushed them, but because you showed them. That flickering is not failure. That quiet does not mean weak. That light, no matter how small, is never wasted. So stay lit, even if no one thanks you, even if no one understands, even if all you can offer is the faintest shimmer in the darkest hour, because someone, somewhere, will look up and finally see the truth. You were never just a star in their sky. You were the one that helped them believe they could shine too. Asterisk.